Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport here on a Wednesday. Internet situation all sorted out. Barnes and Tony, once again, what's going on, man?
Yes, dude, happy to be back here. Very odd. I felt lost yesterday, dude. Yes, Tony. Was pretty crazy. Internet, connectivity issues, but we had it all faxed out by midday yesterday, running it back today. So, hey, a bit more sports to recap. I'm sure our fans missed us a bunch, dude.
Oh, yes. Michael Butka, late night contacting Ernie for days just to get through yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, I do see a lot of comments, so let's just hit the ground running, Tony.
Speaking of running, dude, Brian Barnaby comments first, a 10-run inning is only considered a highlight, he says. Obviously, Brian, stranger to, critiquing the titles and the thumbnails as if Wells wasn't enough, dude, on the thumbnail.
In all seriousness, because I know I get crazy with this stuff, but if the Mets had a 10-run inning, you don't think that would have been part of the title?
I don't know, man, honestly, because, I guess they haven't had 10-run innings, but they've had, 19-run games, and, I haven't really, taken liberties, I guess. When
I
it comes
guess
to
you
that.
know what it is? It's like they're both, crazy, but the in an inning is more
crazy,
rare, because
yeah,
it had been 10 years since the Yankees had an inning like that.
And it is, too, against, I feel like, a team like the Padres, too. Their bullpen has been pretty stout.
14 and 2/3 scoreless, before giving up all those runs.
So, kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But yes, a tremendous inning it was. Michael Buckton says, bored out of his mind yesterday. Without the show, appreciate the love here.
At least he has Ernie, though.
For some late night contact, dude. 12:28 a.m. I don't think as late. Yeah, he says it right there, 1 a.m. on Monday. So it's getting late, dude. Brian Barnaby trying to relieve, I guess, Ernie. Let Ernie sleep, dude. Which is a great hashtag.
Just looking out for Ernie.
Michael Buckton has hashtag keep contact. No, I
feel like Michael Butka might need to get tested for sleep apnea.
Yeah, maybe.
Why is he up so late every day?
Narcolepsy, perhaps, even, too, dude.
Yeah.
And he says, knowing his loving wife does not care about our late night contact anymore. LOL.
But does he care?
I don't know. Perhaps, dude. Ernie needs his rest, says Brian. And then Josh B laughing his ass off, no doubt, says, what up, fam? Ernie, the man himself, says, yeah, dude. Michael Buckton, there's Ernie. Late night contact buddy. Josh B tried calling the group chat with Ernie and I at 6:58 a.m., dude. Again, Buckta, dude, the late nights, the early mornings.
He doesn't sleep. Honestly, I think we need to set him up for a sleep study.
I think you may be correct here. Kev Deuce, speaking of no sleep, says, let's go. We want the smoke. Let's effing go Knicks, dude. Absolute gonna be wild game 2 tonight, no doubt about that. Josh B says that was accidental. Ernie says, let's go Yankees. I'll keep the Mets talk to a minimum, Ernie. You could, I guess, if you want. Listen, hey, the series is 1-1. It doesn't even matter. Kev Deuce says, Barnes Bucks is cheating on you with Ernie. How do you feel about that, dude?
I just think Michael needs to get some rest. Ernie needs to get some rest. That's all I'm saying. Nobody's mad at anybody. I just think, maybe there should be some parameters here, Tony.
Parameters are good.
Like,
parameters
I don't text
boundaries.
Tony at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No.
What's up, man? But
Barnes, are you mad at me, dude?
we just answered that question.
Buckton says going to Applebee's this weekend, Applebee's twice. Oh, I see.
Starting
tomorrow, dude. I guess that's kind of so.
But tomorrow's not the weekend. But
so.
Thursday.
I guess. And then Barnes does not have a doctorate in anything. No, he does not.
But he's called me doctor before.
Yes, Dr. Barnaby. He has late night contact is.
I guess what I would say to that, Michael, is it depends who you ask. Some people enjoy it. Some people, might want to, hit that.
Go to bed. Yeah, really, dude. He says he's going to enjoy the 2 for $25 deal, which is a sweet deal, dude.
2 for $25. Is it like just entrees, 2 for $25?
Oh, it's for 2 people. I think you each get an app, an entree, and then you share dessert for 25.
They've been that around for a while, but I'm guessing like a couple years back, it was definitely at least a 2 for $20 situation, right?
That's a good question. Probably, I guess, right? I mean, hey, inflation, whatever.
At one point, Archie's 3 for $20.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Like 3 entrees?
But it was appetizers.
Oh, 3 apps.
But you get the nachos, the wings. I mean, then you could really, if you were splitting this with somebody, you get 2 orders of wings, you get your own wings. But the nachos, pretty good deal. But that was, 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, I'd be all over that deal, dude.
Yeah.
And then Ernie says, Michael Buck says Ernie loves his late night contact buddy, him. And he put a laughing emoji and a strong emoji on it.
I mean, I didn't see him say that.
No, I didn't see it.
Do we have him confirmed?
Yeah, I think we should.
I would love to see that.
Perhaps.
But yeah, like we were saying, a lot to get to, and we'll definitely. It was a shame, honestly, that we didn't yesterday, get to have a show because that was quite the win for the Knicks. I think
you're gonna say the Mets
Monday night.
Yeah.
No, but right. I mean, that was.
No, yeah, it was.
Crazy.
I mean,
I watched the whole game.
Down from 20, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like it was pretty outstanding, and just the idea of them winning the game, not even from the comeback that they had, it was kind of a stretch. So it was a really crazy game, dude.
And it's just funny, all the doubters on the 39% chance. I mean, here we are. Listen, I'm not expecting them to win tonight, but I said that before game 1, and here they won. So I just love to see it. I think it's great for New York, and even though I'm not a Knicks fan, I have to say, I know that they've endured a lot over the years. And I just think it would be pretty cool to see Madison Square Garden, on the biggest stage and advance further in the playoffs. That building's going to be nuts.
Oh yeah, dude, you kidding me? And then if you think about it too, like you split on the road, like even if you split at home, it's like it's a series, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're making it a series.
Yeah.
So you never know.
I think we're going to see a competitive game tonight. I'm not saying that the Knicks are going to win, but I think it's not going to be a blowout. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think it has. Don't you think it has the potential still to be though? Like Celtics come back, they were punched in the mouth, the 3-point percentage,
yeah. But I mean, you think about last year, before last year, the Celtics, were that team that, come playoff time, sometimes they would go disappearing. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. You know what I mean? It's like the narrative completely switched, obviously for good reason. They win a title, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that, they might not go back to being that team. I mean, look what's happened to, the Cavs. I know it's a different situation, but heavy favorites in that series, down 2-0.
I know, kind of crazy too.
I mean, I think that's just as big of an upset, really.
Oh,
I guess you could say, maybe Indiana played better against top teams, but still, I mean, Cleveland, number 1 seed in the East for a reason. So kind of compelling, I have to say, and, we'll sprinkle a little more of that in at the end. Couple comments about, Ernie in the car in his 20s?
Yeah, I guess so, dude. Ernie says the B's as an Applebee's before smashing in the car was solid in my 20s, dude.
That's honestly one of Ernie's best, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good, dude. Yeah, not bad. And then Kev do half off apps, Applebee's 10 years ago. I do remember that growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
That was like the go-to in high school, cheap dinner. Big crowd, half off apps, share it all. Great job. And then Josh B says, can't take you anywhere to Ernie. Ernie dead ass, Kev, my 20s, your 40s, he says. And then he says, can we talk about the New York Knicks fans outside the Garden laughing? Did you see any of that?
No.
I have not either. I would imagine they were crazy for the watch party. I know guys who went to that.
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
People from Sacred Heart went?
No, like Staten Island. Yeah, for sure.
Did they? I mean, they must have said it was nuts, right? I'm sure some arrests, right? I mean,
I'm sure there were arrests.
Yeah,
dude.
it's crazy how it always has. You know what I mean? It I don't know. You just chalk it up to alcoholics at the end of the day, or just out of control drinkers, maybe not even alcoholics.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say alcoholics. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it's just for some reason people just decide to start damaging things. Dude.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Josh B with the Utah Mammoths here. No more Utah Hockey Club.
It should have been the Yetis. I think the Mammoth name will grow.
Yes.
But don't you think the Yetis would have been pretty sweet?
Well, the copyright, right?
I know.
Right? So
the nonsense. They could have done a partnership.
I was just going to say that. Yeti coolers everywhere. Yeti everything, dude.
Yeah.
Yeti disposable cups
Yeti
all of a
Arena.
sudden. Now Yeti Arena.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like that. And that would make sense for Utah.
Wait for
Utah. And then Ernie says, I don't want I don't have a cell phone, Buckter, by the way. I call from my office and have a laptop, he says to Michael Buckter, who's asking for his number.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But yeah, like we said, a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the golf tournament at the end.
Yes.
But let's just jump right into the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it! Yep. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drove deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
Right. All right, Tony. So let's just say last night, Yankee Stadium couldn't have came at a better time. The Yankees struggling, still in first place, but went into last night 19-16, with a 1.5 lead on the Boston Red Sox and had lost 5 of the previous 7 games. And you had, 2 kind of, late collapses mixed in there, some 1-run losses. So it just, was frustrating. You knew what the issues were. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about results, and those results weren't coming until yesterday. And some good news that started off the day yesterday, the Yankees finally pulling the plug on the Carlos Carrasco experiment, designated for assignment. Yuri De Los Santos brought up. So, Carrasco's ERA was over 6, and me and Matt were there on Sunday when he came out of the pen and gave up 2 runs in a couple innings. So it was just nice to see that. Hopefully they'll give Schittler or somebody else from the minors a chance. De Los Santos filling the spot for right now. But, especially with the ways Warren's pitching, you can't have 2 guys in the rotation that are basically automatic L's, it feels like at this point when they're starting. And speaking of the rotation, when they really needed it, because he had been up and down so far to start his season, which obviously got off to a late start, Clark Schmidt delivered last night, gave the Yankees 6 innings of 2-run ball, and struck out 4, only walked 1, worked around some damage, especially, some tight situations, early on in the game. But fortunately, they were able to work through that. And it got it started off in like just, the way things have been going recently, you lose 5 out of 7, some frustrating things happen. But the first run of this game, was actually scored on a balk. How many times do you see that?
Kind of crazy, dude. I saw that.
Yeah. So you had bases loaded, balk with 1 out. Fortunately, the damage was limited there, as he only let up a sac fly to Jason Hayward.
I guess the ump was saying that he had to declare what his pitching motion is going to be before he does it, but I've never heard of that. I guess maybe I just don't you don't notice that pitchers do maybe give some type of look at that umpire, but kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, obviously in a situation like this going against the Yankees, of course you're going to hate it, but I always just thought to an extent, I mean, what are we doing with balks? I mean, it's just I don't know. It's especially if there's no intent to deceit, someone doing it over and over again.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know. I just think it's not good for the game, but like I said, rules are rules. I understand that. So, you go to the bottom of the 4th, you're down 2-0. So it's just okay. I mean, Michael King is on the mound. We don't want this guy out of hand. We mentioned how good, this San Diego bullpen has been. And after Ben Rice grounded out to lead off the inning, you had Aaron Judge, who earlier, I believe it was first inning, had missed a home run, to right field. This time he gets it over the wall, 341 feet.
Very nice.
Solo shot, so 2-1 Yankees. Cody Bellinger works a walk, and then Jason Dominguez had a nice night. A couple of hits, big walk, but he singles to right and ends up scoring. Bellinger doesn't get the RBI because of an overthrow by Tatis Jr. to third base. Nevertheless, it's a tie game at 2. So that was the end of the scoring there in the 4th. 5th inning, Clark Schmidt ends up getting a 1-2-3 inning, even though Tyler Wade, who's played a role in this series, the former Yankee, did lead off with a single. But after Tatis lined out to left field, Clark Schmidt picks off Tyler Wade. They reviewed it because at first he was called safe. He's called out after the review, and then he gets a rise to strikeout swing. So you had a 2-2 game, through 4.5 innings. Bottom five, 1, 2, 3 inning for Michael King. And it's amazing, how well he was pitching last night, and really what a pitcher's duel we had between the two former teammates and still good friends, Clark Schmidt and Michael King. Clark Schmidt gets a 1, 2, 3, 6th inning. I think he only threw 8 pitches. So it was great to see, because that had been, the thing with Clark Schmidt, not being able to pitch deep into games. So to give 6 innings, give a quality start, that's what the Yankees needed, because then, there's been a lot of concern about the rotation, but obviously, Carlos Rodon has come on recently. Max Fried, who's going to start tonight, has been unbelievable. So, if you could have that 3, and that Luis Gil is going to be back at some point in the next couple of months. I mean, that's a pretty solid rotation.
Yeah.
And, remains to be seen. Do they add someone? I mean, hoping that Stroman is going to give you something, or Will Warren's going to turn it around. Might not be the best idea. But, I'm all for giving the Miners
Stroman's a starter,
shot.
dude. He's a starter.
I'm all for giving the Miners a shot, but as well as I do, Tony. I don't think in any way, shape, or form they should. But it's just like LeMahieu. When Stroman's healthy, I mean, they're gonna give him a shot. I mean, hopefully he was injured before, and he gives you just anything. But I mean, I guess the only thing I would say, and it's not saying much. I mean, I guess there's a chance he could give you more than what Carrasco gave you, or what Will Warren's giving you. I mean, but just it's still, you want more, obviously, at the end of the day. But he's gonna get that opportunity. So going to the bottom of the 6th, Yankees actually go down 1, 2, 3 again. 2-2 game through 6. 7th inning, it kind of gave you, based on how the games have been going recently, some blown leads, little PTSD, because Tim Hill comes in, gives off a leadoff single to Ben Sheets, and then they bring in Oscar Gonzalez, a pinch hit for Jason Hayward. He pops out, so 1 out, 1 on, but then he gives up a single to Diaz. So you got 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Jose Iglesias pinch hitting for Tyler Wade. Fernando Cruz gets the 2nd out on a line out, but then Fernando Tatis Jr. up, and he gives up a double. So Tatis and Machado doing some damage in the first 2 games of these series. So that gives the Padres the lead, scoring Gavin Sheets there. He walks a rise, but fortunately, gets Manny Machado to strike out swinging to end the inning. So a 3-2 game going to the bottom of the 7th. And, we talked about it in the open here. A 10-run 7th inning for the Yankees, something they hadn't done in 10 years. It all started with Jason Dominguez batting right-handed. They had a left-handed pitcher in, Morajan. So that starts the inning off with a double to the left. Anthony Volpe singles 1st and 3rd. No outs. Austin Wells, who would later have the big blow in this inning, a single to right, scoring Dominguez. So that ties the game at 3. And then you had one of those things, just, those stupidity, I guess you could say, a pop-out bunt with runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out from Oswaldo Cabrera. So you're like, is this going to come back to bite? Paul Goldschmidt pinch hitting for Vivas, but then they get a double steal with Volpe and Wells. So 2nd and 3rd, they were behind 3 on Goldschmidt. They walk him. Bases loaded. Wandy Peralta, so a lot of former Yankees, former Padres playing roles in this series, comes in for San Diego. Right off the bat, walks Trent Grisham, gives the Yankees the lead 4-3, gives up a double to Ben Rice, which scores Goldschmidt and Wells to make it 6-3. They walk Judge. Bellinger comes up, bases loaded, singles to score Grisham, so 7-3. Dominguez flies out for the 2nd out of the inning, and then Anthony Volpe, why speed, hustle is important, hits a grounder to 3rd, beats it out, and that scores another run, so 8-3. And then the big blow to really, put this game to rest. Not that it already wasn't a 5-run game, but Austin Wells, his first career grand slam, 5 RBIs in this inning. So that makes it 12-3. Yankees coast to victory from there. Have Tyler Matzik and Yuri De Los Santos finish out this game. So you win 12-3, 20-16. Virtue of the Red Sox loss yesterday, your lead's back up to 2.5. And you have a chance to win the series tonight with your ace on the hill. So, while it has been uneven so far for the New York Yankees, they remain in first place. And you just hope that this type of win, gets the offense going. You could see how riled up the boys were for Wells' grand slam. And I mean, a 10-run inning, like we were talking about, you score 15 runs a couple times a year, maybe. But a 10-run inning, I mean, that doesn't happen too often. So you just got to hope that this, catapults them forward. So it's just nice to see the offense producing. And then Clark Schmidt, I mean, I've mentioned it before, to have a good year. I mean, Clark Schmidt is going to need to give them a lot.
Yeah, that's for sure, dude. So I think it was, like you said, a lot of good steps in the right direction. And I mean, honestly, the good news is that you got Max Fried pitching tonight. So, I mean, he's, a virtual lock to have a better than quality start. And I mean, and I think everyone was, like we said before, too surprised at the Padres bullpen coming out here and absolutely laying an egg and wasting, honestly, a good start by King.
Yeah.
King was pitching well too. So it's like kind of crazy to see that. And a couple of mistakes in the field as well by the Padres. I mean, they're not looking like a complete team right now, which is, again, great as you go into the next game today. I'm not sure who's pitching for the Padres today.
Dylan Cease. And it works out, obviously a battle of aces, but Dylan Cease, his ERA is in the 5s.
Yeah.
Mid to high 5s. So, you got an opportunity to go against a struggling pitcher. Fried's going to be dialed in. So the opportunity's there. And it was definitely a surprise to see the bullpen give up 10 runs after going 14 2/3 scoreless. But Wandy Peralta also
sucks.
Has not been the same guy since he left New York. He was great for us. So it was kind of ironic that he gave it up. And then Michael King, pending free agent, Tony, he's going to make himself a lot of money in free agency.
Sure.
It's amazing what a pitcher he's turned himself into. So, at the end of the day, it was great to get that win. 20-16 now. Time to take the series because you got an off day Thursday, and then you're off to Sacramento and Seattle. So for some late night games, where who knows, there could be late night contacts. But we know Michael Buckner's not watching any Yankee games, so unfortunately,
probably not.
That takes him out of the conversation. So it was great to see that. And like I said, looking forward to watching the game later. I know yesterday, after a win the previous day, a tough one for the Mets.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of the late night games too, I mean, Jesus, Brian, the 9:40 starts are just
I think they're the only team in the majors that has 9:40 starts, or no? Arizona?
I guess so, right? Because LA does it. Yeah. It
10
is such a weird 10 o'clock. Yeah. Interesting because today they have a matinee game. I think 3:30 or something like that. Which obviously, again, I'm not complaining about that. But
no.
In any case, I will complain about the loss last night. Pretty tough here. Let me just bring up the lower third here as the Mets drop game 2 here against the Diamondbacks. So the series is now split going into today's matinee game. And what do you know, Zach Gallen, who absolutely stifled the Mets last weekend in start for Arizona, stifles them yet again, dude. That was probably the bigger story for him, too. I mean, he's a pitcher who didn't get off to a great start, but at least against the Mets, he's been pretty dialed in. 7 innings pitched, only 2 hits, giving up 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. So, I mean, listen, he was absolutely dialed in and honestly working the lineup here for the Mets. So we'll skip to the third inning here, as I was mentioning. Gallen, nice and easy for him the first 3 innings, or 2 innings, I should say, anyway, because the Mets do get on the board first here. As we go top of the third, McNeil lines out to second to start the inning here. Alvarez singles to right. Taylor grounds out into a fielder's choice. Alvarez is out at second, so you have 2 outs. Taylor on first. Lindor is then walked. We actually had 3 walks back to back from Gallen, which was kind of odd because, again, the first 2 innings he was fine, and then the rest of the game he was fine. The following 3 innings after the third here, he was also fine. Just that one inning. And it's interesting because he walked in the first runner of the game after walking Lindor, Soto, then Alonso to bring in Taylor. And I'm pretty sure we saw that in game 1, with the Yankees, right?
Yeah, some walks.
That was like the first run of the game. I believe it was a walk-in, which is like you don't see that very often.
And then honed in.
And of course, wouldn't you know it, dude, with runners in scoring position, Marte comes out here with 2 outs, strikes out looking at a fastball, dude, absolutely frozen. And I really do think, I was just saying, like, oh, wow, kind of crazy. This 1 inning had him a little bit stifled in terms of the location for Zach Gallen. I think that strikeout with the fastball, like, just gave him an absolutely new life.
Like just juiced up.
Literally juiced up. It was like at the knees, Marte, frozen, couldn't do anything about it. And that ends the inning. So what looked like you could get into some trouble here, you limit to just 1 run on the damage, which was a walk, by the way.
But how often you don't take advantage of opportunities?
We know about the Mets, the RISP, dude, the RISP.
Yes,
not
the
good.
Risk of a bad RISP.
Oh my gosh, dude. So we'll go into the bottom of the 4th here now. Like I said, the next inning for Gallen, it was 3 up, 3 down. I think he threw like literally 5 pitches, like just a couple fly outs. Nothing crazy. So again, for him to gain back momentum, it was pretty easy for him. Peterson here, the lefty who I think Cohen was saying on the broadcast, Diamondbacks hit really well against left-handed pitchers. Most of their home runs this year have come from that. In any case, dude, so we do have Peterson pitching here. Grichuk, leadoff double here. And then Suarez gets walked, and then you do see a pass ball by Alvarez in the next at bat, which moves Grichuk to third, which was kind of Alvarez's fault. We've seen him have a couple mistakes behind the plate here. Naylor here grounds out to second. Lindor makes a great play, backhand, the twirl, gets down at first, but of course a run does score that ties the game up 1-1. And then Gurriel doubles here to move Naylor to third. Perdomo grounds out to shortstop. Again, same deal. The good play in the infield, but what are you going to do when there's a runner on third, 1 out? That brings another runner in. It's 2-1. Hampson flies out. So again, I guess Peterson somewhat limits some of the damage as well. A couple grounded RBIs, 2-1. Nothing crazy. And when you know it, top 5, Gallen, 3 up, 3 down with 2 strikeouts. At that point, dude, I just think his confidence, I guess, or maybe just the fact that the lineup was just not seeing pitches right, but it looked like every ball they thought was going to break was a fastball that didn't break, and it was a strike. Every time they thought it was going to be a fastball, it was a curveball that ended up in the dirt.
That's why I hate
and
the
swinging
guessing
at
game.
it, dude. Yeah, it's like it really just did not go well, and even Alonso had a tough time too. Top of the 6th, same deal for Gallen, 3 up, 3 down. Struck out Alonso swinging. That was one of those instances where it was a knuckle curveball, 12-6. Alonso, I guess, was just swinging right through it, dude. So it's a 2-1 game going into the bottom of the 6th as we see Peterson, who did struggle with some location. I forget who he hit. Man, he maybe did hit a Naylor in the wrist early on in the game. But he ends up walking Naylor to lead off the inning. And then here comes Gurriel with a 2-run homer. First pitch, fastball, as we see so many times. Pitchers who struggle with location. And we just go to my fastball. Let's just get over the plate. And that's what he did. Middle. Naylor ropes it, left center, 2-run blast, makes it 4-1. Peterson ends up getting out of the inning, but that will be the end of his night. Not great final line from 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks as well, Brian. 6 Ks. So you could probably say, which doesn't really say a lot, though, because he's been great, but one of his worst starts this season.
Yeah.
Just the control wasn't there. And if he's not, if he's struggling to put something in the strike zone, I mean, it's just obviously he's going to fall apart. Like I said, Diamondbacks, good hitters against lefties. So it just didn't really seem like it was a great match for him.
No. And the park factor.
The park factor, we talked about it, dude. It's high up there.
Yeah.
Too high, dude. And then, Gallen comes out here for the 7th. And I sound like a broken record at this point. 3 up, 3 down for Gallen. Okay. Again, I mean, it's at that point, I think the Mets lineup was just swinging at anything that Gallen was throwing, and he knew that. So it was off speeds, and it was ground outs, and it was fly outs, dude. And that's that. That was the end of his night. His final line: 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks as well. But obviously, giving up 2 hits, 7 innings, that's a recipe for how the hell are you going to win that game. And when here, they do give up some more runs. Buteau comes in out of the pen, who's been kind of, tipsy-topsy over here. Leadoff walk to Carroll. Smith flies out. Suarez singles to center. Carroll goes to second. And then a fielding error by Taylor. He moves to third. And then, of course, your typical, here comes Josh at the plate. All you need is a pop out to left and an insurance run. What does he do? Pops out to left, sac fly, makes it 5-1, gets the insurance run. Ginkle comes in for Arizona, even Miller at the 9th too. But at that point, the Mets lineup was pretty lost, dude. In the 9th, they kind of had a chance here. 5-1, leadoff walk to Soto. Alonso had a tough night, strikes out again in the 9th. But Marte singles, so runners on first and third, 1 out, Brian. Nimmo lines out, Vientos flies out, which again, I feel like I've said that probably maybe 5 times this year between the two of those players. RISP, I know, dude.
And just Vientos, I just say I'm surprised. Like I know, I thought he would have turned it around by now. I know there's still time.
Yeah, no, there is still time.
A lot of people on the radio, they're down on Vientos.
Yeah, I mean,
you understand why, but at the same time, I don't think it's over.
No, it's not over. But you kind of thought, I think it was his home run against the Cardinals.
That would
where you kind of thought like, all right, that was a big hit. Maybe you can get some things going. Beatty was sent down. Okay, dude. Like,
but then he's back
up. Now he's back up. We know Winker injured, whatever. But still, like you thought Vientos maybe would have some more like, all right, let's go, dude. But there is no let's go, dude. It's let's get out is what his fucking mantra is right now. So that was the last out of the game. You lose 5-1. Yes, it's a split right now. Yes, you're excited for Kadai on the mound. I think against Kelly, I believe, for the D-backs. You look at those two pitchers. Obviously, Senga, a 3 ERA that's sub 2, probably like a 1.5 or 1.3 or something. Kelly's got to be somewhere probably around a 5, I want to say.
Yeah, I think 4 and change.
4 and change. Yeah. Again, up and down. I guess watch out because obviously you can say that about Gallen too. Gallen really hasn't had many great starts. His 2 great starts were against the Mets this season.
But I think this is the start of him. I mean, we know he's a great pitcher.
Kelly.
Zach Gallen.
Oh, yeah. No, he was very impressive last night, dude. I will say. You got to be able to tip your hat.
And it's interesting. I mean, we talk about parallels. I mean, the Mets find themselves today kind of in a similar situation. Yankees were going into yesterday where, you've lost 5 out of 7. So it's just like this could be the game, to close out this series, kind of reset a little bit and not let, a bad stretch fester and go longer than it needs to be.
Absolutely. And you do expect some, bounce back performances here. I mean, you talked about game 1 in this series. Alonso, a big home run. Lindor, a big home run. Those guys didn't have a hit last night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you would expect some guys to turn it around. Hopefully, dude.
And, next 2 weekend, massive series. You got the Cubs this weekend and the Yankees next weekend.
That's right, dude. So
a lot of big baseball to be played here.
Yeah, huge. And you do get the off day tomorrow too, so which is nice because we've rarely seen that, a little
West
reset
Coast
action,
travel.
dude. Exactly. So obviously it's on to the diamond today. Figure it out, dude. Like you said, just maybe a little more patience, honestly. Because again, like you think of that 3rd inning where Gallen is walking players. Let him keep pitching to you, sort of deal. Like don't be looking for that pitch.
But the guessing, like I said,
it's not good.
I'm all for sitting, but not guessing.
Right.
Like you know what I mean. Like it's like especially late in the count. Why are we guessing late in the count?
Ridiculous.
I mean, I know sometimes sure it ends up being a home run, but I just think early in the count, if you want to hunt a fastball, let's go.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I don't know. I don't understand that.
It's tough, dude.
So do we have to update picks?
Oh, actually, I updated them yesterday.
You did.
Dude.
I think I went 4-2 again.
You did go 4-2.
Yeah, the Yankees, of course.
I also went 4-2. I will say though,
the
parallels, also the park factor, I think played a good role here. In any case, so it's something to look at, when talking about making predictions here, the park factor. But you're 34-32 and I am 38-28.
All right.
So 4-game difference, dude.
Some more wins under my belt. Plus, I think it's good, because we mentioned the Yankees losing 5 out of 7. You would think now, we're going to get a good stretch on the horizon. Some manageable teams we're going to play. So let's do, Tony, a Wednesday edition of the MLB 6-Pack brought to you by the Hirsch Law Firm. So like we said, series finale, Max Fried, Dylan Cease, Yankee Stadium, 7:05, Prime Video, also nationally on MLB Network.
Okay, I like that.
And I mean, you're minus 180 for a reason. Cease hasn't pitched well. Fried has been the exact opposite of that, 6-0 with a 1.01 ERA. And, looking at this game, I know quality opponent. So, I don't think it's going to be 7 shutout innings, but I think he can give him 7 innings, limit the damage, 2 earned runs. And, I think he'll strike out 8. And I think the Yankees will continue the offense that they saw in the 7th inning last night. I think Cease, who I want to say hasn't gone 6 innings his last 4 or 5 starts, is going to get knocked around early, often in this one. I can see Aaron Judge maybe home run first inning, Tony. But I think they tag it, bag it, like to say.
There we go.
For 5 runs off Cease through maybe 3 and a third. And I think they end up winning this game 9-4. It's going to be the Yankees and the over in the Series W. Let's hit the road. Let's go west. That's where we're going.
Absolutely.
Sacramento.
By the way, Cease here. Last good start was on April 14th against the Cubs here. 5 2/3, 2 runs.
But the difficulty getting to 6 innings, which is odd for Dylan Cease.
Yeah. That was the most innings he went in his last 5 starts. So kind of crazy there. What is also crazy is the way Kadai Senga has been pitching, and that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to Arizona 340, okay? Set your reminders, okay, because it is a little bit of an oddball start time for sure. But the D-backs, look to win this series against the Mets. Not going to happen. As I mentioned, I guess, again, you can go with the parallels with the Mets and the Yankees. The pitchers on the mound today for them are certainly going to be lights out, dude. And I expect that from Kadai. I mean, he's given you 7 innings, I think, once already this year. He's gone 6 innings twice, so he's going deeper and deeper into games, which the Mets are going to need that, especially with, like, A.J. Minter being injured, Danny Young being injured as well out of the pen. You need to let those bullpen pieces rest right now. The bats are going to be hot. All right, earlier game, Alonso's going to be outside of his head, I think, tonight. I can see him going for a 2-for-4, 3-for-4 night with a dinger. Lindor, maybe an RBI double, bringing home Taylor. He goes 2-for-4. Maybe even Soto with a solo shot. That'd be nice to see here in Arizona. He had one that almost went over the right field wall in game 1. Just didn't make it. I'll say he notches one there. And I say the Mets can take this game. I know the park factor is high there, but the over-under is 9.5. We got Senga on the mound. I say the Mets take this one. I'm going to say 6-2. All right, so give me Mets and the under, and they win this series, and they head back home.
All right, I am going to go to Kansas City here. Royals going for the sweep, 5th straight victory, playing the Chicago White Sox. I think they do just that. Michael Wacha, the grizzled vet, former Met. 3.52, right. 1-4 this year, so a little tough luck there.
Yeah,
I think he's pitched well. Jonathan Cannon, 2-3, 4.26. But I think Wacha, has been the king of the quality start the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Gives him 6 scoreless innings. I think the bullpen does the rest. And I think, against Chicago, maybe they score 5-0. I think it's a shutout. It's a Royals 5-0 victory. Royals in the under.
In the under. You Yankees in the under too, right?
Yankees in the over.
Really?
9-4, remember?
Oh, boy, dude. All right. Let's go my next pick here.
Kind of tough, talking about dude. The Yankees, zoning
out. Let's see, dude. I know some of these pitching matches are kind of oddballs, dude. Mike Soroka making his debut this season for the Nats. I know that you'd probably say, like any good manager, be wait and see. Soroka, I think it was maybe a bicep issue that had him sidelined for a little bit here. But he was lights out in spring training. So give me Soroka here. I say he absolutely dazzles the eye here at Nationals Park. Here I say he goes 7 innings, dude. Maybe 90 pitches, maybe, being absolutely methodical. The professor, dude, whatever. Fans 10, I say. Nats win this game. I'm going to say, 3-2. Give me Nationals in the under.
All right.
Might
so
be crazy.
Third game, final game here, Tony. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Landon Knack, 1-0, 7.27, going up against Bayozo of Miami. Dodgers here, minus 235. And I just think going up against this Miami team, while they did drop the opening game of this series, they're not about to lose 2 out of 3. Let me tell you, and even last night was extra innings. But I think the Dodgers here, last night they lost, actually. Excuse me, I was looking at the wrong column. Anyway, I think the Dodgers just blow the doors down. I know Teoscar Hernandez is on the IL now, but they got plenty of reinforcements. I think Shohei goes deep. Mookie Betts, give a homer to Freddie Freeman. I think this is a bloodbath. I like the over as well. Give me the Dodgers win this game 10-3. So we're going to go Dodgers and the over.
I think we're going to go next now to Tampa at George M. Steinbrenner Field, Brian.
World Series rematch from 2008.
as the Rays take on the Phillies World Series rematch from 2008, dude. We do have, is it Shane Baz, right?
Yes.
Baz on the mound against Sanchez here. I don't know what the over-under is at, but give me Phillies, give me the over. I think Schwarber is going to have probably a pair of home runs, honestly. I think Stott could be hitting. Harper, I feel like, has been a little up and down. I don't really know, honestly, but I feel like I haven't heard his name that often. But when he gets in the score sheet, I think between these two pitchers, I think certainly you'll see the Phillies win this game. I say 6-4. So Phillies and the over for my last pick, dude.
And just like that is your Wednesday edition MLB six-pack. And I think it's time for Ernie's favorite time of the show, and that would be yet another Immaculate Grid.
I'm so hyped for that. Let me just bring up the music again, honestly. How about that?
The music,
just keep the music rolling, dude. Where's the lower third? There's the third.
Lower third, pulling it up.
Immaculate Grid here. Hey, dude, we have a little Mets column action here. We don't see that very often.
And I don't know what your thoughts were, but I'm going to start because I feel like people will forget about the Boston years. How about David Cohn?
We could do David Cohn. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Top left.
David Cohn. I think they would forget about the Boston years, and perhaps, who knows, even the Met years as well. 3%.
There we go.
Not bad, dude. Not bad at all. Hold on, let me just write down Phillies in the over.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then I would say Boston Cubs. How about Orlando Cabrera? Traded for Nomar Garciaparra.
Very nice, dude. Nomar Garciaparra, dude.
Wait, what? Was that the wrong guy?
Come on, man.
No, but who was the guy? What was his name? Because he literally took over in 2004 when they won the title. Wasn't Orlando Cabrera? Momentum killed.
Oh, come on. I feel it always happens with them. Do you get it wrong on purpose when there's Mets column?
But just go Mozilla. Honestly, it's my fault. But it's also bothering me who that.
Go what?
Go Mozilla Firefox?
Oh, okay.
or
I'm going to go incognito.
Incognito. But also, who the hell is that short? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
though, right?
I do. Hold on, I gotta look it up. You look it up. Let me bring in this new grid. Yeah, you look it up.
No, you look it up.
You look it up. Let's see, Immaculate Grids. Oh, all right. Stick with Cone, dude.
No. Wait. Go back to this. Oh, so what? He wasn't on the Cubs?
What do we got?
Oh, okay. He was on the
Cone.
Expos. It was a 3-team trade. That's why.
David Cohn.
It was Orlando Cabrera, but
not on the team.
Okay. All right. John Lackey. Come on. L.A.
Lackey. There it is.
Nice.
Another 3%, dude. Nice, even, symmetrical 3% here. Hold on. Let me I just gotta do this. The comments. Ernie. He's back. What's up? The same position you take when Soto takes a piss. Soto showers.
There were some pretty crazy comments.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. I can't.
But come on, enough. That's like a late night contact.
The late night contact for sure. All right.
Back to the grid here.
So we could do Scherzer for the D-backs and the Mets. Also, we could do Marte as well.
What do you think is less, popular? Also, though. Diamondbacks, Cubs, Edwin Jackson?
Edwin Jackson. I'm pretty sure Roberto Alomar was on both as well.
There we go. 5%. 5%er. Roberto Alomar was on
D-backs.
I don't remember him on the D-backs for some reason.
I'm pretty sure 2 seasons. I could be wrong, though. Scherzer? I feel like maybe people forget Scherzer. Because Marte is going to be like...
Scherzer. 20.
Oh,
30.
my God. What the fuck?
All right. Let's see here. So I feel like there's been a lot of Boston Orioles, but it's like kind of
escaping.
Was Trey Mancini on Boston? No,
I don't think so.
He was on Arizona though. Arizona Orioles.
Okay,
middle bottom. What did they release him in strict training? I mean, I guess we got to go to yesterday's grid, but I think this is also because I forgot that it was the Cubs he was on. Is that what it was?
Baltimore, Houston, Cubs.
All right. Well, let's just go to yesterday's grid since we were not yesterday. We'll get one right because I think this is like a 4-game
100%.
losing streak.
Yeah.
And it's my fault, honestly. So
No, it's okay.
I'll own up to it.
Yeah, Max Scherzer was the highest. Dude, what the fudge?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's because we've gotten away from the Schwami a little bit, and I think that's the problem.
Oh God.
And this grid doesn't seem great either.
Should I call? He says we're terrible. D-backs Max Miguel Bautista. He says. Well, it's too late now, dude.
Yeah, let's just get started on this one.
Let's bring in the. Hold on. It's all crazy. It's all going down.
It's all nuts, Tony.
Yesterday. Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
35.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah.
So
get on the board.
On the board, Josh Donaldson. 16. Okay.
Not terrible, but not great.
Jake Berger, was he on the Twins ever?
Jake Berger, I don't know about that. Let's see here.
6+ WAR season for the Twins.
Oh, we could have done Milwaukee with Donaldson. That probably would have been a better one. Damn it. All right, but we got All-Stars as well. Let's see here. So for Milwaukee, I would say Milwaukee All-Star Gene Segura.
Gene Segura. 0.3. Nice.
There we
dudes.
go. I mean, some type of rebound. And then let's see the
Braves All-Star.
I mean, there's so many different directions to go here.
Did Murphy get it?
I don't know.
I think that would have been good if he maybe got it. I don't remember. But
Ozuna had to 40 home runs back like yours.
1%. Let's go,
There you
dude.
A lot of people probably going with the nostalgia, the big three on the hill and everything. Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones.
Dallas Keuchel.
6 more season. Dallas Keuchel for
Braves Houston. That'd be too much.
Probably. But who cares? Just power through, Tony.
2%.
There we go.
There we go, dude. People forget about him.
Boy, these 6 more seasons, though, huh?
Yeah, that's fucking tough, dude. Swami, Francisco
Cordero
for Brewers Stros, dude. Good one. There he is. 0.2, dude.
6 more season in an all-star. Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. We're going to the stadium. See Mickey Mantle.
Those are always good. A lot of low percentages.
There's so many.
All right, and then the 6 worst season, the Twins and the Astros. You think Johan had 6? Had to have.
Right? I don't know, though.
Did he win multiple Cy Youngs? Because, I mean, other than that, I mean, I guess.
Ernie?
Alex Ochoa?
Who?
Brewers Twins.
Okay. Sorry. Alex Ochoa. 0.1.
Wow,
You got a
there we
beat
go.
on Alex, dude?
No beat, dude. That's beat.
All right, so Twins with the WAR, Stros
Harmon
with the
Killebrew?
WAR.
He was on the Twins, right?
Harmon Killebrew was.
Yeah. There's no way. Was expecting the
11%,
red.
dude. I know, me too for a second.
All right, and then the Astros, Garrett Cole. I mean, that 1 year, he obviously had 6. 34. Good
okay.
rebound.
Yeah, that was
grid.
a good rebound grid, dude.
Thank you to the Swami.
Yes.
We're back now. No more of these like losing grids, losing days.
Mm-hmm.
I guess none of my picks are good.
Yeah,
enough.
Kev do.
It's funny. A lot of this stuff. I mean, you get it given the age, but Kev. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like these guys I've never heard of. Like, playing must be in the 70s, 80s. But important day of baseball upon us.
That's for sure.
But let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here he comes. McDavid shoots. Top shelf. He scores. Captain with the overtime winner. That's the middle break. That's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping. Rink Washington made the full split save.
Are you kidding me?
Turn. Side of the net, between the legs, and they score! Filthy! McDavid, Pasternak, the silver trophy.
right.
Two nights.
All right. So, one surprise, or depending on how you look at it, two surprises last night. But the early game here, we saw the Carolina Hurricanes, winning in overtime over the Washington Capitals to take a 1-game-to-none lead in the best-of-7 second-round series against Washington here. And this was a comeback win. Washington led after the second period. Protas put them up 1-0.
Crazy.
But they had Stankoven in regulation halfway through the third, even things up. And then Slavin, the hero, Tony, Carolina going up 1-0. And we kind of had alluded that this might be possible. I mean, a lot of people obviously rooting for the Ovechkin run here. But this also could finally be Carolina's opportunity to advance to an Eastern Conference final. Because I could be wrong, but I don't think they've even been to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe since they won in 2006, or I mean, at least since I've been watching. I know they haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals because I know we took them out a couple times.
That'd be actually interesting to look up. But I mean, this game was obviously pretty wild. The OT winner by Slavin, which was I don't know if you saw the goal, but it was like from far out, dude. And he wasn't even
just shoot it.
He was just tossing it to the crowd of people in front of the net, dude. And it finds its way, past Thompson, who had a tremendous game. 31 saves in the night of 33 shot attempts here.
How about Freddie Anderson stepping up?
Yeah, dude. Obviously, the Caps not in much control of the game, which is pretty interesting. And I feel like, again, kind of anticipated some of this. Obviously, even though the Caps are at home here, Carolina obviously travels well. And they are a very good team. And I mean, they were just dominant. I mean, you're talking like, 6 to 8 minutes of offensive zone time in that first period, out shooting the Capitals like 14-7 or whatever it was. Really having great sustainable pressure. And I mean, that was the big question going into this series, if the Capitals could really keep up, with that just constant pressure that they're feeling from Carolina here. And for a second, it did seem like they were going to do that, because they still were getting those like one-off chances off of maybe a Carolina D-man would be too deep in the zone, trying to get something going, and there's a turnover, and then it's Caps on the other way. Obviously Anderson coming up with some big saves, but Caps still had those opportunities, which is why you ended up seeing, Protas get the first goal of the game. Because they were utilizing those opportunities well. I mean, that's why the Capitals are such a good team, is because they're able to do that. But again, I mean, the Capitals weren't able to hang on with all that pressure from Carolina. Again, I mean, it's just like that's why there was no offense, honestly, in terms of the Caps here in the first period, or even most of the game anyway, because the second, they're trying to play a puck in their own zone, there's just Hurricane players just in their faces immediately. The defensive guys were having a tough time passing the puck out quick to the zone. They get something going. And that's exactly how you end up seeing Stankoven's goal. Turnover right in front of Thompson. And I mean, that's a goal all day from any player, especially at this point in the playoffs. And that ties the game. And then, of course, they forced the OT here, and we know how it ended there. So, I mean, if Caps, if the Capitals want to make a stand here and win this series, they're going to have to stop Carolina. I mean, we as Rangers fans, we've seen it happen. Like, you have to find a way to stop their offense, to stop that constant pressure. You got to move the puck faster. You have to know where guys are on the ice. You have to pass with intent and accurately. And this is what you're gonna have to do in order to get past the defense that Carolina lays down. You're never gonna make it out of your own zone if you keep playing like this. And then again, like, that's what Carolina does. They beat you down until you make a mistake. They take advantage. And obviously here, I mean, I guess you can still tip your cap to the Capitals here, no pun intended, because it, still was an overtime victory. It looked like the Caps could have it, but that's what it is. That one mistake Carolina waits for. That's what they do. So, I mean, you got to be absolutely perfect. You can't just have Thompson make 32 saves or 31 saves all night. He has to have some type of relief here too, because he's bound to give one up, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously this is going to be a great series. I don't anticipate anyone running away with it. But it does seem like Capitals have an uphill battle. But you know what, dude? I mean, every series we've seen in the postseason, it's like game one almost like throw out the window the result, because it doesn't really matter. All right.
And I think it's interesting, too, because, the next game of the night, we saw a road team win. And you think about the NBA as well. First round seemed like all the favorites were winning early. Now it's like the script has been flipped here as we've gotten into the second round. Kind of interesting. And, I just mentioned it. The Oilers end up coming from behind, down 2-1 after the first period, down 2-1 going into the third, but 3 unanswered. Stealing game 1 in Las Vegas, 4-2. Calvin Pickard getting the start again. Freddie Anderson, like 15-17 in the net. But, they get by, 2 Mark Stone first period goals. And really, it was 4 answered from that point. Perry, Draisaitl, and Connor Brown. You had McDavid in on 2 assists there for Edmonton. And I think, we kind of said going into this that this was going to be a long series. And, I still am anticipating that. But I have to say, it's kind of surprising to see Vegas get off to that hot start. Stone, really dialed in the first period and then kind of, struggle to score the rest of the game. I was surprised by that. Only 17 shot attempts.
Yeah, no, yeah, it not good, dude. And you're blowing this game. You're up 2-0 early in the first period. Mark Stone, 2 goals, dude, too.
Yeah.
Like his 3rd and 4th of the postseason this year. But that's, again, talk about something like a broken record. Edmonton Oilers coming from behind. Their 5th come from behind victory
This postseason.
NHL record, dude. And we're in the first game of the second round, Brian, so
double that.
They easily could double that. So, the late night Oilers are certainly coming into play here.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting here and you're Las Vegas and you're in the locker room or you got the off day today, you're at practice, whatever, you got to get your stars going, dude. I think you got caught staring at the puck a little bit too much in this game here. After going up 2-0, maybe you thought the Oilers are going to roll over. Did you not watch any of the Kings series? Like, I don't know what they were thinking here, but it's like, not for nothing, dude. Jack Eichel, you're leading the team in ice time, 23 minutes, at least as a forward anyway. You get 2 shots on goal. I know you have an assist on one of Stone's goal. That's cool. But you got to get him going in terms of more scoring. I know he does share the wealth. He has had a lot of assists this year. That line is probably the least of their problem with Mark Stone on it. But you need your superstar to show up. You need to get him on the score sheet in terms of finding the back of the net. And then you need your defense to absolutely shut down. I know it's easier said than done here. But again, you're looking at Noah Hannafin, who is a player who could offer both offense and defense. He led your team with ice time as a defenseman here. He had 1 hit. He was -1 on the ice. Not a good game for him. He should be like glue on McDavid. Figure out where he is on the ice, Draisaitl, whoever, and start laying the wood here. And then also, if I'm Noah Hannafin, I'm taking shots from the point as well. Try to get some more offense going here. I don't care if it's Pickard or Skinner, doesn't matter. Edmonton does not have a good goaltender. All right. You got to figure out how to get pucks on net. Do exactly 15 shots or 15 saves, for Pickard. Like, you got to challenge him more. Like I said, if you're a defenseman, there's traffic in front of the net, just throw it to him. All right. Because you can try to find your way to get some dirty goals here. And then, like I said, you got to figure out a way to stop some of the forwards here in Edmonton. I know it is really hard to do that. But David, 2 assists, 4 shots on goal, obviously a big setup guy. Stop him. You got to figure out a way to stop him. Like, that's what you got to do here, especially late night. You're not taking your foot off the pedal. Third period, you're giving up 3 goals unanswered. Like, that can't happen. Like, I don't know what they're doing. And I understand, like, obviously, you look at the games that Edmonton comes back in, it clearly is more of their play, more of what they're doing, and less of what Vegas is doing wrong. But obviously, Vegas can tighten up a lot of things here. You were 1 for 3, I think, on the power play. Solid. You held Edmonton scoreless on the power play, which is also good. You got to keep up that defense. I don't know if it's like you're fizzed out or ready type of thing, but, for Edmonton to steal 1 here in Vegas, again, talk about an uphill battle now for Vegas. You dug yourself a little bit of a hole. You almost come to game 2, and it's like Vegas has to win it.
Yeah, and we saw them play with fire last series against Minnesota, end up coming out on top. We'll see if they can rebound from this, but I think it's going to be some tremendous hockey. And I think tonight will be some tremendous hockey.
Yeah, dude.
Game 2 in Toronto. How about the Leafs winning that first game, on Monday?
Yep.
To go up 1-0 here. So a chance to go up 2-0 going to Florida here. I'm sure a lot of people expecting the Panthers to bounce back. But we said it before this series, Toronto is going to be a tough out. So it's just, I think this is going to be compelling. I think, like we said originally, it's going to go 7, but, looking forward to watching that one. But what are you thinking? A Panther rebound here?
Yeah, I do think Panther rebound here. Listen, Toronto's been playing some great playoff hockey, no doubt about that. Obviously, the last series against Ottawa, hard fought. You took care of business. You didn't really let them creep in too much. But game one against the Florida, I mean, I think you also let up 3 goals in the third period, almost lost it.
Yeah.
And obviously, Anthony Stolarz here, I don't know if you saw that. I think it was Sam Reinhart who hit him in the back of the head. Clear concussion, throwing up on the bench, Brian. Obviously pulled from the game. Wall comes in, lets up the 3 goals in the third, which, Wall, you look at some of the postseason starts he's had, decent. But obviously Stolarz is their starter. He's the guy they've been going to. So, I mean, he's day-to-day. Hockey players, I know they tend to play in these circumstances here, but this guy is clearly concussed. If he is going to start, he's not going to see the puck right, may even hurt his team before getting pulled. Wall, I mean, I would be very surprised if we come in here with Wall starting for Toronto and we're recapping the game tomorrow morning and we're talking about Toronto winning it and Wall having a good game. I'd be very surprised. I would say give me the Panthers, give me the over. They tied up going back to Florida. If Stolarz is still injured, Toronto could be in trouble here.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens. And then we get game one between the Stars and the Jets, 2 teams that went to game 7s. And it's interesting, before the playoffs start, I would have said, Jets all day, maybe a tough 6-7 game series. But the way Hellebuck looked, I don't know. Is he really going to turn it on? And the way that the Stars looked, taking out the Avalanche in 7 games, I honestly like them in game 1 and this series. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas ends up overwhelming them and winning this series in like 5. Honestly, the way they looked unbelievable offensively last series.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, Rantanen, Duquesne, Rupe Hintz. I mean, all these guys are on missions. Tyler Seguin, Ottinger too. I mean, they obviously have a tremendous team. Big upset against Colorado for sure, even though it technically wasn't an upset, I guess. But regardless, Connor Hellebuck, ERA on the road this postseason, I believe is like a 7.
ERA?
Sorry, ERA. Wow, dude. Goals,
get
him on the mound, dude. His goals against on the road here, I think he's like a 7.5. Goals against at home is a 2.2. All right, so clearly I know Hellebuck, his past few years, postseason stats have been not good, not at least what his start of his career was anyway in the postseason. But I say Jets at home, Hellebuck shows up. I say they do take game 1 here. The whiteout, Winnipeg. I say they just think the entire team, not only Hellebuck, plays better at the Canada Life Center. So I would say give me the Jets here. I believe they opened at plus 115. They're now down to minus 105. So clearly people in Vegas are taking Winnipeg here at home, probably because of the Hellebuck stats there in Winnipeg. But again, I mean, the way the Stars are playing and the way the rest of the Jets are playing, even on the road, you think about that St. Louis series, I think the Stars kind of have this one, but obviously Winnipeg, like I said, game 1, expect that. And you never know what happens, but like I said, I would say Stars win the series, but Jets win game 1.
All right.
Which is crazy.
And so, yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. And I did want to, talk some golf, before we wrap up with the NBA here. The Truist Championship getting underway tomorrow. The signature event lead into the PGA Championship. And it's kind of interesting because, you get used to these tour events, same courses, same type of atmosphere every year. But kind of a one-off, which I think is kind of interesting. Almost feels like a major in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never heard of a tournament being held at a cricket club, which is kind of interesting. But that's where we will see it,
Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia. So
Flower Town.
You don't really have like a feel of how this tournament's going to play, but I would imagine, like I said, it plays similar to a major championship. So I'm really interested to see this. And obviously being, a signature event. All of the top golfers, in the world. And I really don't see any history here of any other events, but I guess it is the Wissahickon course, is the one that they will be playing. And it looks like it measures 71.19, which is kind of short, for a PGA Tour course. But I'm sure the rough will be growing out. I'm sure the greens will be rolling fast. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I mean, really, all of the top golfers in the world here, other than Scotty Scheffler, who won, the Byron Nelson and has decided to take this one off and rest up for the PGA, like we talked about. So you have, Rory, Xander, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Ludwig Gobert, Hideki Matsuyama, Russell Henley, Victor Hovland, Maverick McNeely, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Justin Rose, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantlay. Also in this field are Jordan Spieth, Keegan Bradley, Sungjae Im, Bob McIntyre, Ashke Bahatia. So a lot of talent here as everybody's gearing up for the PGA. And I'm looking forward to seeing, what this course looks like. That's for sure. So I know it's kind of tough because we don't have any type of basis to go off here.
No baseline.
How the course is going to play,
it's okay.
How the golfers will play at this course. But what would you say? Who are you feeling here for a winner and a sleeper?
Tough. It is tough, like you said. Interesting, because I was looking at some of the course and I guess what they've been doing. I guess the course has been under restoration since 2008.
So it literally hasn't been open in 7
I guess
years?
last year they hosted some event, but obviously not a PGA event, whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess they've been working on this, and there's diverse greens, some that are hard, some that are easy,
Right.
water hazards, but apparently it is a driver's course from what I've read. And honestly, I was kind of, I guess, maybe digging a little deep here, but I say for the winner, I'm going to go with Corey Connors, dude, the Canadian. All right, dude. He has had 5 top 10 finishes in the 11 weeks here on tour. He's tied 8th or better in 4 of his last 6 starts. And he does rank very high in terms of driving metrics. I think he was 15th in strokes gained off the tee and 18th in driving accuracy. So you look at that. I know I'm kind of like going a little bit outside the box. You could be like, oh, Rory, the setup best golfer. Even Xander, honestly, too. You can see him because I believe, even though different course, back-to-back years runner-up at this tournament. But I would say give me Corey Connors. And I say maybe because of the new course, some golfers tend to struggle a little bit. He succeeds off the tee. I say he wins at 15 under.
Okay.
So give me Corey Connors as your outright winner, 15 under. And then as a sleeper, which I didn't really do much research on the sleeper, but I say why not at plus 15,000? Give me the other Canadian, Nick Taylor, who's golfed pretty well this season. So I think he could be a good sleeper. I guess I'm going with the Canadians here.
Canadian sweep.
Here in Flavortown, dude.
I still can't believe the cricket club. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
But I'm gonna go for a winner here. How about the number 10 golfer in the world that I feel like we forget that he's that high up on the rankings, Maverick McNeely.
Wow.
So I like him to win here. I think he's a solid, well-rounded golfer that could do well at a variety of different courses. You look at this year. He's been in the top 25 5 times, top 10 5 times, and he did have a runner-up finish at the Genesis and coming off a tied 3rd at the RBC Heritage.
Very nice.
And was that a leader, I believe, before falling apart in the final round. So I'm going to say he wins, and I would go, 12 under par. I think this is going to play tough, just being that the golfers aren't familiar with the course. And then as a sleeper, I'm going to go with Adam Scott. It's crazy the longevity of Adam Scott here in his 40s. Just feel like he's due. It's been a while. You never know when he's going to get it rolling with the putter. So I'm going to say Scott, if he were to win, it would be at 10 under par. So this would be an interesting one getting underway, tomorrow. I believe I'm going to double check this, but we were going to start with some ESPN Plus coverage tomorrow morning. Of course, they're showing the Creator Classic, which is today. But yeah, 11 a.m. We're going to get started on ESPN Plus, and then 2 o'clock, 2 to 6, we'll get the coverage on Golf Channel. And then also Myrtle Beach, second year, hosting a PGA Tour event.
Hey now.
And Joel Damon
in
the field there. So somebody to watch out for him. We saw him have the collapse at the Corrales Punta Cana Still a lot of trouble he can get into Myrtle Beach. Maybe not as much as Punta Cana, but you feel like he's due one of these days if he just, maybe eases up, on the bottle, possibly. Who knows, right?
Yeah, no, you really don't know. He could.
And hello to Donna. Honestly, great to hear from her.
Good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, some good golf to be played. Obviously, we're pumped up for the PGA next week. And then I have to say, I mean, as the playoffs have progressed here in the NBA, I mean, it's gotten interesting. We kind of talked about it on the Open. The fact that the Pacers, are up 2-0 here on the Cavs. Cavs 64
kind of crazy
victories here in the regular season. And Donovan Mitchell having 48 and 9 last night, Tony, but not enough. Tyrese Halliburton, who's been huge in these playoffs, kind of burst on the scene a couple of years ago, then kind of went quiet. Now it seems like he's kind of, back in terms of really being a big-time player. He hit the game-winning three-pointer in this one. How about the Pacers? Coming back from 14 down going into the fourth quarter.
Wild.
We've seen a lot of those comebacks. We talked about the Knicks the other night. I think the one thing that we have to remember is, the Pacers did win 50 games during the regular season. And, I mean, the talent is there on this team. You think about Halliburton, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam. I mean, the Cavs are definitely in trouble. Obviously, they played so well this season. I mean, 30 road victories. So I wouldn't call it over, but I think they definitely, for them to get back in this series, I think they really need to take the next two games in Indiana, which I think they definitely have a chance of doing. We'll see. And then the other game last night, we saw the Warriors go up 1-0 on the Timberwolves. But Steph Curry injured, I guess, status in question for game 2. So obviously that would be a big loss, if he's not able to go. I guess it was a leg injury. But, I would think it just from judging what people are saying, maybe even if he does miss the next game, feel like it's not going to be long-term. You feel like he would give it a go. But Jimmy Butler stepped up last night, 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists as the Warriors still game 1 on the road. And Minnesota just did not have a good game. 5 of 29 for three-point range. And Anthony Edwards did have 23 points and 14 rebounds, but didn't have much help elsewhere. Julius Randle had 18, Naz Reid with 19 off the bench, but just not enough. So kind of interesting, very low scoring 90s style type of feel to that one last night. But I have to say for me, obviously it'll be a split screen situation. But there is some juice for me for this Knicks Celtics game at 7:00, Tony. And especially, not even, just, it'd be nice for New York, see the Knicks, but to really stick it to these Boston fans. I think they went into this series thinking that it's just going to be a cakewalk, talking sweep, and they blow a 20-point lead in game 1. You never know how that could play into them, mentally the rest of the series, just losing some confidence. Could this happen again? And obviously giving the confidence to the Knicks. So I think there's definitely an opportunity here for the Knicks, and they're pumped up.
Yeah, and you mentioned the mental aspect. I mean, you never know. I mean, we've seen Tatum, not necessarily be the great go-to guy, in big moments. And obviously the Celtics very talented roster, no doubt. But I mean, I don't know, Brian. I mean, you look at the game 1 win. Yes, the comeback is nice. But the 3-point problem with the Celtics was 15 to 60. They took a lot. 50% of their shots in the second half were 3-pointers, something like that. Ridiculous. And then you look at any guy, even Mike would be like, "Oh wow, game 1 impressive," but that's not going to happen again with the Celtics.
Giannis is never going to win a championship, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
He's never going to win a championship.
Do you think? Do the Celtics come out here and not even shoot a 3 in the first quarter of the game?
No, that they're gonna be shooting threes. That's
and they're gonna probably be making those threes. You think?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a given. They could also have another cold shooting night, and obviously the crowd will be behind them. But I just think I think the Knicks are going to be dialed in from step 1 here. I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think there'll be any, 20-point leads in either direction in this one. Honestly, I think this is going to be right down to the wire.
And if you're the Knicks, and I know people on ESPN Radio were arguing what is a contested shot in any case, but Celtics were specifically missing a lot of wide open threes. If you're the Knicks, are you going to kind of maybe let them take some and see what what's going on. Maybe defend the inside some more.
Maybe if
and
Al Horford shooting them.
and he still makes them.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some of the other shooters on the team.
I can't believe that guy's still playing. He's like pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah, no, it is. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't think you let anybody take a wide open three by design. And I'm sure they will shoot better. But I just think, what's going to be big for the Knicks? I feel like Karl Anthony Towns last couple of games has been kind of quiet. Obviously Brunson going crazy, but if he could have a 30 and 15 game, I mean, that would be huge. And then, just playing good defense, like they did in game one. And, I think too, like I said, with Towns contributing, and also, I think Mikal Bridges didn't shoot that well last game after having a huge, performance there in the game 6 closeout against Detroit. So yeah, I think it's going to be, Brunson's going to be there. It's going to be about the other Knicks poising a threat where, it's not going to be just the Boston defense just swarming Jalen Brunson.
Right.
So,
We'll see what happens, dude. I mean,
yeah, but what is your, what's the Tony Stradamus here?
I think honestly that Celtics come out like on a mission, tight, not going to lose another game at the Garden, at TD Garden, I should say. How many points are they given?
10.5. That's a little high. No?
Wasn't it 9.5 first game?
Yeah.
That is kind of high.
Yeah.
To have a 10.5 point of victory. I guess they win but don't cover. I would say something like maybe 120, 114.
It's a little higher scoring this time.
High scoring.
108, 105 in overtime last time.
I know. I'm saying threes are dropping.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I agree. I hope the Knicks win. I will not be surprised if they win, but I agree with the whole, win and don't cover. I'm going to say 117, 112.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be an exciting game. Definitely excited to watch it. That's for sure. And definitely hoping for a Knicks W. We'll see. That would be something to go up 2-0 going back to the Garden. The atmosphere on 6th Avenue on Saturday at 3:30. People are gonna be drinking at 9, Tony. Right though? I mean,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And then the second game, 9:30 here. Second half of the doubleheader. The Nuggets stole game 1. Speaking of spreads here, 10.5 for Oklahoma City here. I mean, a similar thought with the bounce back here. Losing a home game 1, big favorites. I mean, is there a parallel here, Tony?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough. I feel like the Nuggets have more of like a star power. I mean,
right.
They're guys.
Murray, Jokic, guys that have won championships.
That's what I mean. Like they have that. They have the experience. They have the chemistry. Again, maybe OKC can win this one, but I can't imagine the spread is going to be covered here. I mean, I've done that to be kind of odd, don't you? And it opened up at, I guess OKC minus 8.5, but still, dude, like that's pretty wild. 10.5 points that you're giving Denver.
It is. But I have to say, I think this is going to be a 6 or 7 game series. And obviously it was tight game 1, but I do actually think Oklahoma City resilience. I mean, 68 victories for a reason. I think they will cover this. Actually, I think they will blow the doors down. I'm going to say 128, 120.
Wow, dude. Okay.
But then, I think that maybe we'll have another split in Denver. We'll see. But I think some compelling games here. Like I said, the NBA as we move along here, picking up some juice for me. Just the defense, the competitiveness, not as much of a joke as we see in the regular season. We did see a bunch of comments here. I guess Jaybird, right?
Yeah, dude. It says, what's good? Knicks in 6, he says.
Wow.
And he says mental aspect is huge, Barnes. Great point. There
Gotta
you go.
be strong mentally. Get your mentals in check. Your chicken,
dude.
Your mentals, right? Isn't that what Marshawn Lynch said a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, dude. And I guess you can go to Buck Day here. Tatum overrated. He's not that guy. Gonna work at Walmart. And he says Giannis to the Lakers? ?
I mean, the Knicks is a possibility as well.
That's what they're saying. Buck talking shit. Riley Domack suck it, he says. And then he says, hashtag Josh B says this, hashtag New York forever. Go kick rocks. To Ernie, who says, let's go Celtics, baby, which is pretty interesting. I don't know what the deal is there. I guess
I don't understand. Blame Kevin JD.
Yeah, maybe because they're both rooting for the Knicks, so he naturally wants to root against them.
I don't know.
I don't know either. And then Josh B say it's a strays. Unfortunately, yes, guilty by association. That must be what it is, dude. It must be.
And then the other thing I was going to mention, big trade in the NFL. What do you think about George Pickens? Headed to Dallas.
Couple second rounders or something. Or
Third and a fifth.
Fifth. Okay. I mean, I guess good for Dallas, right?
Yeah, I think that's a hell of a trade. I mean, he's got 1 year left on his deal, but I mean, he is one of the best receivers in the whole league. Creating that tandem, with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, that's a lot for opposing defenses.
Why the trade? Do they think that he's just not going to? Is he like? Does Pickens not want to resign? They think, and they just get out of here.
Yeah, they've had problems with a contract extension, and then there's been some talk about the attitude. But my whole thing here, Tony, is it's 1 year. He's playing for his livelihood, playing for his next contract. I think he's going to be highly motivated. And the fact that he goes from being the unquestioned number one receiver in Pittsburgh with weak quarterback situation last year, Russell Wilson throwing ducks down the stretch. We know what Dak can do in the regular season. And then the fact, like I said, that he's not going to be the number one focus of opposing defenses. I think he's going to have a huge year. Honestly, I think it's going to work out well. I know, like I said, people point to the attitude stuff, but for 1 year potentially, with money on the line, I mean, are you not going to get the best out of him?
Yeah, no, I would think so. As long as he doesn't think that, no matter what he does, teams are going to be interested in him. Obviously, if the guy wants to get, max contract, he has to realize you got to put up some great numbers. And not for nothing, too, Dallas, you got to succeed.
Yeah.
It's not even just that, so it's should be pretty interesting to see, I guess, what happens. And I don't know. Dallas has been kind of in a funk, so I would be surprised if he stays with them, right? I mean, I think he has the idea that it is going to be a tryout year to see what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
I think, he's going to want more money maybe than what they want to pay him. But,
right.
I mean, the whole thing is just the, resistance to Dallas doing anything in the playoffs. I mean, maybe if they advance further than they have in a while and it goes well, maybe it's a different thought process. But they have to still pay Micah Parsons and
that's what I mean.
CeeDee Lamb already and Dak already.
And they get so weird with signing and Jerry.
Yeah. Tight. Very tight.
Come on, dude.
I mean, you don't get rich, not being cheap, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they say?
Right?
Right?
That is what they say. You don't get rich by not being cheap.
But I think it's interesting, and I think Dallas will bounce back this year. I think they'll be a playoff team because I think, too, Washington, I think they have a bright future. But how many times do we see a team like them, what they did last year, coming back this year? A lot of times it's like a 500 season, miss the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That follow-up year is
slump.
always so tough, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was an interesting, trade there. And I guess Ernie was just talking about them giving him a hard time about the Lakers.
Yeah, I guess so. But Josh B's not having any of it, dude.
No,
absolutely not.
But let's go Knicks. No, I really want to see him win, though. Oh, it'll be so awesome just to see the Celtics fans going down here. Because don't you think there is something too, Tony? I'm not denying the fact that they were the better team, when they played and just in the regular season and they're defending champs. But there is something to thinking that because you won the championship last year, now you're just overwhelming everybody in the playoffs moving forward. It's just history's shown it doesn't work like that. A lot of times these teams the next year after winning a championship don't get that far in the playoffs.
That's true. I mean, they have had a great season, though.
Right? But the season versus the postseason. No, I'm saying regular season.
Yeah, it's from regular season versus postseason. No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't know though. For the Knicks to win, it's going to be tough, dude. I mean, there's still going to be that question, and I know. I mean, I don't know, man. What happens if there is a Game 6, Game 7, and the Knicks are just gassed from this series, gassed from not having bench players play a lot of minutes. I think the longevity of this team.
Brunson with one leg could hit a game winner.
I think time will tell. I mean, it is obviously, listen, you go up 2-0, that obviously helps in terms of longevity of the series here, which obviously benefits you. So, we'll see what happens. One game at a time.
And then Ernie says he can have a big year, but it's the same situation as Pittsburgh. You trust Dak? Yeah, I don't think it's the same situation because he's the second wide receiver. You have CeeDee Lamb, and I think Dak. I mean, you say you trust Dak. I mean, Dak is way better than Russell Wilson at this point. So that's why I think, it's better to understand, there's that animosity. I just don't have it because I was, never a Giants fan. So I don't have like this thing against the Cowboys that I feel like a lot of, people I know do. So I think they're going to be a good team. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a wild card team, second place in that division. We'll see. Who even knows? They could even win the division. I mean, sometimes too, like for the Eagles being in the situation coming off a championship, same type of thing we're talking about the Celtics. It's not always that easy to follow up. And then Ernie says it's New York-Boston rivalry. People think it's just baseball. Nope. And then Josh B says if Celtics win.
Didn't he just say go Celtics, though? Isn't he rooting for the Celtics?
But I don't know if that was just like, he's probably still rooting for the Knicks, but he just wants to give them a hard time. I would think.
I don't know, man. Who does that, dude?
And he says if the Celtics win, I better not see Riley anywhere near the show tomorrow. And then Ernie cracking up. So the banter like no other, Tony.
That's right, dude.
So yeah, I mean, that's really it. What do we have in tap for the gaming corner later?
Dude, we're gonna have a great night. Actually, we're gonna be playing the Switch online. So classic strikers, the cart, Brian. And then we're gonna be open. The museum is open tonight for the first time. We have our guests coming in, dude, around 7:00. So we'll be going gaming corner a little bit early, maybe like a 6:45 start, 6:50 start, something like that. And then, if he wants to play, he can play on Gaming Corner.
There we go.
So yeah, I mean, obviously the Retro Revival Museum is open Wednesdays, every other Wednesdays and Sundays. You can go to our website to book a time. And obviously Wednesday nights will be a Gaming Corner night. So it's going to be sick, dude.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And of course the ZA, the pizza, dude.
The Knicks.
The Knicks as well. Obviously Mets will be already celebrating their win probably.
Yankees will be in the process of winning. And then Ernie also says, yes, just want to give the guys a hard time. So let's go Boston. My guys are gone. And then Josh B says, no Kurt for me with the Knicks on, cracking up there.
Obviously,
but
anticipated.
So we know the priority there, but definitely have to say a great show back here today.
Nice to be back.
Nice to be back. Nice the internet is back. But we really appreciate everybody tuning in, continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives of the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay in costume. The merch at DowntimeTV.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy Gaming Corner. Let's go Yankees, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.